Hi, Taurus. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for December 2019. For you, Taurus, there's going to be a lot of 8th and ninth house activity, which means going into the depths and coming out into the light of understanding. And Julia, I think you had some thoughts about Mercury, Venus, and Mars.
Oh, I certainly do, Jamie. Well, hey there, Taurus. Let's start with Venus first because that's a very important planet to you because that's the traditional ruler of Taurus. So Venus begins the month in your ninth house, and that's the house of Jupiter. So it rules all of the things that kind of expand us in some way, whether that's higher education, whether that's religion, whether that's travel. So since Venus is such a social planet, you're going to want to go out there and maybe socialize in a way which can help sort of expand yourself, whether that means talking to people about consciousness raising things, going to a lecture on philosophy, or just talking about metaphysics. You're just kind of in a philosophical mood with your social relations. You also might be, because it's Jupiter's house, a little bit more freedom seeking in your relationships, and you might be feeling maybe even a little less possessive of your partner, or also demand that they be a little less possessive of you. And then going on to Mars, which is the planet of activity, it's the planet of passion, it's our drive. It's going to be in Scorpio all month, which corresponds with your 7th house of partnership. So you're going to be putting a lot of energy in that arena, whether you have a romantic partner or whether you have a platonic dyad, like a best friend that you enjoy spending time with. But since Mars can also have that kind of fighting energy to it, watch out for any sort of disputes and conflicts which can come up in your one-to-one relationships. And since the 7th house is also a house of consulting, it's not necessarily the best time for legal things as well. Mercury then, as it enters Sagittarius, on December 9th, it's going to be going into your 8th house. And the 8th house is a very security-oriented house. And as a Taurus, you're a very security-oriented person. So since Mercury shows us where our plans, our thinking, and our strategies are, you might be spending a lot more time focused on your security needs, how to sort of maybe even like reducing debt or, how to sort of ensure your privacy in certain arenas. And then on December 28th, Mercury is going to be entering your 9th house. Again, you're going to want to probably, since there's such an emphasis on the 9th house, really find things that kind of expand your horizon, be in a much more philosophical mood. Yeah. What's going on with the moon this month, Jamie?
Yeah, I definitely have thoughts. And I also wanted to say, with this big concentration of planets in the ninth house, Taurus, it just feels like it's time to grow and expand. Time to build the greater structures that can help you to truly express yourself on a larger stage, perhaps, which is a really exciting thought. If you wanted to get a reading this month, then probably just a plain old natal and transit reading would give you an idea of what sort of growth edge is the right one for you right now. The full moon is happening on December 11th. Let's look at that. It's going to be across a Gemini-Sagittarius axis, which means your 2nd and 8th houses. So Julia, what you were saying about the 8th house, you were talking about reducing debt. That would certainly be a good strategy at this time. And I think that that would do something towards allaying the worry that comes with this full moon in Gemini. Now, that's not always the case with a full moon in Gemini, although it can be. Gemini has a tendency to overthink it. And when an emotional planet like the moon is in Gemini, it can sort of be very saturated with a sense of worry. But I think that it's really the square to Neptune that makes this moon so anxiety provoking. And really it could sort of induce a mood of free floating anxiety. But no worries, it's only for a few days. The moon itself is happening on the 11th. So the 10th, 11th, and 12th. I mean, I think the point here is, Taurus, don't make any financial decisions for emotional reasons because you're worried during December 10th, 11th, and 12th around that full moon. Especially if you think that they might give you some kind of security and make you have a better position relative to somebody that you owe or who owes you. I think it's important to think it through and also to draw on your heart and your gut, but also just don't take any swift actions until you have thought it through. So then we have the new moon and solar eclipse, which is coming at the end of the month, right on Christmas. So if you are a Christmas person, you might find this to be rather tense. Here's the new moon in Capricorn. It does fall in that ninth house, and remember that is the house of growth. So Christmas being a time that, or the winter holiday in general, time that we generally spend with family, it could feel a little bit constrictive. It could feel a little bit, Capricornian. And this is a solar eclipse, which is a time when we tend to be forced to look at our shadow. So I think Christmas could have some stresses mixed up with it. But the thing about it is, because that falls in your ninth house, it could actually trigger a really big growth process for you. And that could be a wonderful thing. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention that I think you're going to really like hearing is that Jupiter is moving into an earth sign this month. And it's doing so at the beginning of the month, right there on December 2nd. Jupiter, which spends about a year per sign, is moving right into Capricorn, into that house of growth and expansion for you. And this is going to be wonderful because Jupiter brings the spirit of adventure wherever it goes, and Capricorn is the career sign. And that really goes to the heart of why it's a sign that brings up themes of growth and expansion for you, because it seems like you, Taurus, have all of these wonderful salt of the earth traits and characteristics. And what better medium for your growth than a career that's meaningful? So this could be the year in which you move towards that really powerfully. I think that might be about it. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed it, Taurus. We had fun making this horoscope for you. And you can always find out more on our news playlists. And I definitely recommend that you check out the news videos for the new and full moon and for Jupiter's move into Capricorn, because you can find out so much more than we can tell you here. And we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye bye.